Hello everyone, welcome back to WeXpats TV. I am your host Rebecca, and today we are going to talk about 5 impolite Japanese that you might use by mistake, or some because you don't know it's impolite that you might use by mistakenly. And so today, these 5 expressions that are a little bit impolite and sometimes could definitely offend some of the Japanese are some of the most used Japanese for foreigners who learn Japanese from, let's say, maybe anime or drama. So as for myself, I actually used to learn Japanese with drama as well. So sometimes my Japanese could be a little bit impolite and people would say my Japanese is a little bit too casual in some occasions. So today we are going to teach you guys some of these words and let you know what can you do to, correct these expressions. So first of all, I think most of us have definitely heard of this word such as Anata. So the first word is Anata. And the other more impolite way to say Anata is Anta. So most of the Japanese people, native speakers, they do not use Anata to call somebody when they're saying you. Why? Because it's could be slightly impolite, and most of the Japanese people would be a little bit, rather than offended, they would be very surprised that you call them by Anata. So what can you do to correct that? People in Japan, most of the native speakers or whoever actually grew up in Japan or have been learning Japanese for a long time, they will call people by their name, not only by their first name, but with their last name with sa. So let's say my name is Rebecca, right? And someone else, it's going to, like, somebody just randomly call me like by Anata. I would be like, oh, did I do something wrong? Or like, are we not close or something like that? So if you want to call somebody, please do call them with their last name if you're not too close with them, and with sa. And then and for another occasion, if you're calling someone who, let's say, your CEO, or if you're calling somebody like, let's say, a manager or someone that's actually above you with their rank, like status in the company, you should call them by their status and their level at work. Let's say if you're calling your CEO, you will call them maybe shacho. And then if you're calling your department leader, you can call them bucho. So you call them with their status name along with their last name. That would be a little bit more polite way to call people. And the other example would be if you're calling someone that's a little bit closer to you, let's say it's a female, or maybe very close, let's say your kohai, which is like your junior at work or at school, or your let's say your part-time job, you can call them by their first name, but also with chan or kun. So something that you need to keep in mind is most of the Japanese people will be very surprised if you call them Anata or even Anta in that way. And also if you call them suddenly by their first name, they'll be really surprised. So please be careful to don't do that when you're calling someone. And for my example is that my episode is I actually just call my friend like jokingly with Anata, and they'll be like, oh, so Rebecca, did I do something wrong? Are you mad at me? So they were really surprised that I called them by the even if I was just joking. I thought I was just joking, but they were really surprised. So please be careful around that. And the other one is Anta. And Anta is something that you should definitely just not use on a daily basis, because I feel like it's something that you would see in anime, but it's not a very polite way to call people. So definitely not use it. And the other one that also always actually come out in an anime, and then most of the foreigners who learn Japanese by anime use it all the time. That is omae. Please do not use it. Just don't use it in most of the occasions. Some younger people, when they're in maybe elementary school or in junior high school till high school, some of the boys would say would use the word. But I would say I don't recommend using omae in any occasion, because that would actually sound quite offensive to a lot of people. And then, I mean, if you're actually in a fight with someone, then maybe. If you're in a fight with a couple fight, or in a fight with your friends, then maybe. But definitely not use it. It's offensive, and then it's not polite, and would make people feel like you don't really use the right way, the right Japanese. So please do not use it as well. And the other one that you would usually see it in, you are here in anime, or you will see it in a lot of the manga, would be uzai. And what does uzai mean? Uzai means annoying. So if we say, you're so annoying in English, it doesn't really sound very, you can jokingly or saying something in a fun way to call people annoying. But I would say if you call something uzai in Japanese, people would feel really offended, and it's really offensive. And then if you, some people would actually, mistake it with urusai. And urusai is meaning noisy, and then in an actual way. If you're saying literally something is really loud or something, you can use urusai. But uzai literally means annoying, and like, you know, it has a really kind of, I would say, like really bad, like negative meaning, so please do not use it as well. And then it would make your Japanese sound not as, you know, I would say pretty, but it would sound a little bit, you know, childish in some way, so please do not use it as well. And then so what can you say if you want to say someone is annoying? The other word would be uttoshii. It's still offensive, but it does make your Japanese sound a little bit better and a little bit smarter in that way, so I wouldn't recommend use it as well. But if you want to, you know, use it in a fight with like someone else, then you can say uttoshii as well. Or you want to like try to describe someone that's a little bit annoying. So I mean, I think uzai is something you can also jokingly use it, but only use it with your really close friends. Alright, and the other one, I don't use it at all, and I think that's something that you should never use when you're talking in Japanese. And if someone uses it towards you, maybe just don't be friends with them, and that would be shine. And that's a really bad word in Japanese. It's probably one of the worst expression in Japanese, and I would never use it to anybody. It's because it literally means, shine means go to hell. Like literally call someone like, you know, go die or something like that. So I would really not recommend using this, even for fun. And I personally, have I ever used it? Maybe when I was younger, but that's something that I've never used. I haven't used this word maybe in 3 years, so I wouldn't like, in any occasion, I tell myself, even if I'm like super mad and I'm like in a really bad mood or something, like in a really bad fight with anybody, I tell myself not to use it. So please do not use it as well. Alright, and the first one will be damare. And damare means shut up in English. And I feel like it's very similar in English that you can jokingly say, damare yo, you can say something like that, like jokingly with your friends. You can kid with like, you know, like just kidding. That kind of situation with your friends, really close friends, your let's say maybe you're a couple and you could say it to your partner in a very like jokingly, in a fun way. But if you're telling someone, let's say you just want people to not shut up, but you want them to stop talking, or if you want to just say, oh, can you guys be quiet, like that, like some situation like that, please don't use damare. You can use, we have 3 sentences that you can use and in a better way to tell people to shut up in a more polite way, and that would be 静かにしてください. And the second one would be 静かにしていただけませんでしょうか? That's the second one. And the third one would be お静かにお願いします. So 3 of them are really polite. So if you want to tell people to, you know, quiet down a little bit, let's say if you're in a meeting or something, and you can use these 3 expressions to tell them to shut up in a very polite way. Alright, we have like 5 expressions for you guys to not use in Japanese and in Japan if you're not in a fight, or maybe if you're in a fight, don't use it. But I think a lot of us would make these mistakes when you just started to learn Japanese, because you're not really sure what is right, you're not really sure what is wrong, but you have heard these words, these expressions in anime and dramas, or even like read it on manga. So you thought it's right, and you thought like most of Japanese people use it every day. But a lot of time that these words are not something you should use towards someone that's above you. Let's say your leader, your manager, or someone just basically your coworker. You should not use it because first of all, it's impolite, and second of all, it makes you sound childish. So a lot of us, when we just started to learn a language, we really don't know what is right, what is wrong, and then it's hard for you to make sure that your whatever Japanese you're using is right. So I would say always check before using it, and then try not to always rely on dramas or anime or manga to learn Japanese, because sometimes you will learn the wrong one. And then it's okay to make mistakes, because we just started to learn language. I think it's super difficult and super hard. Sometimes some people think my Japanese is a little bit too casual, or someone would say my Japanese is a little too high school, or like something like that. So I think it's always hard to learn a new language in the right way, but you just make sure to always correct yourself, and always make sure that you are trying to read other people's expression to know that, oh, maybe something I said was a little bit offensive, or something like the expression was wrong. So yeah, just be careful, and then let's have fun learning a new language. And hopefully this video is actually useful for people who are learning Japanese right now, and then that's all, like, you know, learn the correct Japanese and have a better life in Japan without any misunderstandings. misunderstandings. Alright, and let us know how you feel about these kind of videos on teaching Japanese, and let us know if you want to learn more about the polite Japanese, or you want to learn something a little bit more casual, or something like some impolite Japanese we can also provide to you guys as well. And if you like today's video, please do like, thumbs up, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to our video, and see you next time. Bye!